In this video, I want to demonstrate how you can make a basic sink form out of the same material you made your forms from, melamine. My name is Vincent. Welcome to my YouTube channel, DIY Concrete Countertops. Chances are, after you've constructed your forms, you have some scrap material laying around. This sink is for a very small bathroom vanity and won't require much material at all. This is a pretty middle-of-the-road size for a vanity sink, nothing unusual. Once I've got a general idea of what's going to fit my space and look good, I can go ahead and trace it onto a scrap piece. Attaching two scraps together and cutting them at the same time will ensure that I have two identical sides. This is a perfect task for an 1.5-inch brad nail shot on a slight angle. Just make sure that you stay out of your usable area. I want the bottom of this sink flat, yet I still want my water to run towards the drain. What I'm going to do is shim it up very slightly, no more than 1/8 of an inch. I'm doing this by taping a small scrap on and running it alongside of the fence. When you're standing at this vanity washing your hands, you are standing on the front edge of the countertop. What I'm doing is cutting the front edge of this side profile shorter, which will make the concrete more shallow on that side and deeper on the drain side. All I'm doing here is eyeballing my miter gauge to match the line that I've traced onto my side piece. There's not much science to choosing this angle. It's basically just a trifecta of what works well, what looks good, and what makes you happy. Once I have my side profiles cut, I can move on to cutting my slope and my bottom piece. When I cut these pieces, I always overcut the angles slightly so that I'm not trying to figure out an exact angle, and it gives me a nice razor edge. This is just a personal preference. You can do it however it works best for you. For assembly, I'm going to use 1.5-inch brad nails and a little bit of melamine glue. Now, melamine glue just sticks better to the slick surface of melamine, a little bit better than regular wood glue. Now, in this step, taking a few extra moments to line up your edges perfectly will save you some time and hassle down the road. Be sure to use an adequate amount of fasteners, but definitely don't overdo it, because these all have to be filled later. I've left my bottom piece slightly long so that I could scribe an exact line and cut it to fit perfectly. Now the front piece and the bottom piece will butt up at a 90, and I've overcut that angle slightly also. All that these overcuts do is ensure a nice tight fit up on the outside. The inside is inconsequential. Once everything is glued up and assembled, I can lay out where I want my drain. Just in case this doesn't work out, now is the time to make any changes. You definitely don't want to hit a bump down the road after you have a lot of time invested in sanding and shellacking. The theme of this video is making a sink form from material you have on hand. What I've done is I've found some washers that match my drain bevel, and I'll use those as a knockout. Nothing special required. Now here begins the tedious work of making sure that all board transitions are undetectable. Everything should be rounded and transitioned very, very nicely. If there's a spot that might not be quite perfect, take a few extra moments and make sure that it is perfect. Concrete will mimic any small perfection, so do a thorough job. I'm adding a quick bead of silicone here to act as backing for my wood filler. This is just standard wood filler, and I'm using it on any areas that need any attention or any help. Again, concrete will mimic any small imperfection. It's imperative that everything be seamless. Once given the appropriate amount of time to dry, everything can be sanded again. And then refilled, and then resanded and refilled as needed. Again, investing the small amount of time now will pay big later. Now everything's final sanded, nice and smooth. I can glue on my drain bevel. Hot glue works just fine for this. The entire thing will eventually get coated with a thin layer of silicone caulking. To ensure that everything is watertight and sealed, I'm just going to coat the entire thing with a urethane sealer. If there are any imperfections in your shellac, sand them out and reapply. In this particular case, I had a very small run in the side of the form that I did not catch, and it did show up in my final product. Once the sink is perfect and complete, you can now install it in your form. If you're working off of a template, be sure to reference that template when locating your sink. Once I have my sink located, I use 4 small drops of hot glue on each corner to tack it down until the silicone can be applied around the perimeter. This is a rubber knockout for the drain pass-through. A variety of things can be used for this task. I've used PVC, pieces of wood, conduit, all kinds of things. The important part is to make sure that they can be removed once the concrete is dry. Now this sink does not get an overflow drain. If your sink requires an overflow drain, 3/8 flexible copper tubing works really well. Well, I hope this helps you on your project. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like or dislike, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out a few of the other concrete videos.